I guess I really have a knack for being wrong about what teams I picked to win championships are lately. But then again, I probably just use up all my luck for football, I suppose. Which, I get it. Although, because of, these last couple videos where I talk about the Stanley Cup final and the NBA final, even though the team I picked to win, didn't, I'm still glad I got to be involved and watch, and it's definitely given me, and like I was saying yesterday, it definitely has given me some resolve for, wanting to do it more next year. Which, I don't know when exactly it starts again, but, when it does, I'll certainly be there and ready and raring to go. So, happy Friday, everybody. I actually have a few things to talk about before I get into the main topic of discussion. And that is, okay, yesterday the Trevor Noah episode of Hot Ones was awesome. It was. Again, I alluded this the other day. I always thought that Stephen Colbert was funnier than Jon Stewart, just because Stephen Colbert actually does, do half and half in terms of making fun of both the right and the left, where it's pretty obvious Jon Stewart will make fun of the right. But with Trevor Noah, I really like how one of the questions that was asked is, how do you approach having a guest who, doesn't really think like you do. And this is actually something that I strive to do whenever I'm talking to someone who I don't care for or agree with. And it's actually something I would do if, I actually had guests on these videos. Hint, hint, by the way. And that is, I try talking to, your level in a calm sort of, manner. I'll definitely listen to whatever it is you have to say. I try not to get, too personal. And, in a way, I sort of follow the golden rule of treat others the way you want to be treated. So I would definitely treat you with as much respect as, I possibly could. And I would definitely, and all I would ask is, you do the same. If I am the one making the video, I would kind of like a little bit of respect for it. Just saying. But that's not here there. So, and also, the answer to the final question didn't really steer me the wrong way. I just sort of have a slight disagreement with it. And I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty details, so I'll just sort of G-rate it for you. The final question was, Trevor Noah is known for, saying that, of being very eloquent in talking about going number 2, let's say. So, what is it about number 2 that's so, like that? And Trevor Noah said that when you go number 2, we live in a society where we have to look a certain way, act a certain way, that could potentially be completely different from how we would normally like to be. In a lot of ways, we have to become a completely different person than what we really are. When you go number 2, that's the one instance where, you don't need to worry about that. You really can just be yourself. And I would like to agree and disagree with that. I agree with the whole being yourself part. I really do. The only thing I disagree with is, I would like to say that you can be yourself in, plenty of other situations that don't necessarily involve going to the bathroom. Maybe taking a shower, perhaps. Or, maybe in the privacy of your own home alone. Or maybe you do want to take the risk and, be yourself out in, the real world. And actually, funny enough, it was an old episode of Family Guy where back when Brian was really tolerable. He said, if you really want to get high, it's as easy as being yourself. So again, you want to take that risk and be yourself out in the real world? That's cool. So yeah, overall, I love this episode. I'm definitely going to be watching it again a little bit later. And now that that's taken care of, how about we get into the main topic of discussion? 1 year ago today, well, actually, a year, 3 months, and 12 days ago. Oh, yeah, 12 days. Or a week and 5 days if you want to be more specific. It was March 2nd, and I dedicated a video to this one individual and his family. Now, at the time, again, I didn't mention his name because, my policy, I never name names, so as not to embarrass or offend anyone. But eventually, it was I revealed that individual was the late Sean Bertanza. And so I dedicated that video on March 2nd to him and, his family. And if you guys recall, I later did it again this year on March 2nd, 2019. I dedicated that video to, the Bertanza family. Shortly after I did that video on March 2nd, I thought that there's a certain someone who I want to dedicate this video to. And I should also take a moment to mention the reason why I dedicated the March 2nd video to the Bertanza family was because March 2nd is Sean Bertanza's birthday. That's why. So I thought to myself, there's a certain one of my brothers who had passed away, and he had passed away before, I had a Facebook. So I have no idea when his birthday is. And that individual would later become to be known as Andrew Einstein. So you guys are probably wondering, well, how'd you get the information on when Andrew Einstein's birthday is? Well, believe it or not, I'm actually friends with Andrew Einstein's father on Facebook. And, I took the time to be very respectful. I asked, listen, I just dedicated, the March 2nd video to Sean Bertanza and the Bertanza family, even though I didn't technically say the name, on Sean's birthday. And I had a Facebook I didn't get a Facebook until a while after Andrew had died. So I would like to on Andrew Einstein's birthday, which is today, June 14th, that I'd like to dedicate that video to, Andrew and, his family. And, if you find that and keep in mind, this is me asking him via Facebook Messenger, by the way. If you feel that, it's too personal, or if you feel that, it's too emotional for you, if you feel like, I shouldn't do it, it's a bad idea, etc., I certainly will not do it, because, it's technically none of my business. But if you do feel comfortable with me dedicating that video, that video on June 14th, which is actually Flag Day, by the way, so happy Flag Day, everybody, then, I'll be happy to do it, and I will do it with as much, grace and, dignity as possible. And I certainly like to think I'm doing that. And he said it was okay, and so, come June 14th, 2018, which was 1 year ago today, I did the video, and, I talked about who this individual was without saying his name, because, remember, I didn't feel comfortable mentioning names at the time, and technically it's still my policy, but I'm mentioning Andrew's name now because quite literally 6 months later we get to the December 14th video, where I talked about my contemplation of suicide and how that's how Andrew had passed away. And so Andrew Einstein is essentially one of the reasons why I'm still here and I still think about, my brothers every single day. Because when I witnessed that all of my brothers were, they were hugging, they were crying, they had each other's backs. Sound familiar? I, couldn't do that to them, so I didn't. It's been hard these last 10.5 years. Yeah, it really is 10.5 years as of today. But there's definitely been some good in there as well, and that certainly helped keep me going. And as long as, I think about, the examples that Andrew Einstein had, left behind for not just me, but for the rest of my brothers, I'm going to be okay. And it was actually really kind of funny because when I first met Andrew, I really didn't, well, here's the thing. I didn't hate him, but what I hated was the fact that, I just was on that very cusp of being on the top 7 in cross country. And then Andrew Einstein had shown up. And so I had to fight tooth and nail even harder to, make it, which I eventually did. But Andrew Einstein was he was a phenomenon. And the funny thing is, he wasn't even there for cross country. He was actually there for lacrosse. And this was back when, for those of you who don't know from the Give People Horseheads, Trinity Pawling had just won New England's, which would be the equivalent to basically winning states the year before. So, yeah, lacrosse was really huge. And lacrosse players acted exactly like you would expect the quote-unquote lax bros to act, really immature, really not smart. They really wouldn't make the smartest choices. In fact, there was one lacrosse player that pierced a part of his body in which technically it would be acceptable for a guy to show off this body part, but not for a girl. I don't want to say what it is, but trust me, a lot of lacrosse players really didn't act like they were the most mature people at the time. But Andrew was a cut above the rest. He really was. And, to all my brothers, out there who are watching this right now, know that I think about you guys every day because of the examples that Andrew, and technically Sean Bertanza also, but I already dedicated his birthday on March 2nd to him. Because of them, I think about you guys every day. And it most definitely helps keep me going. And I am always going to be thankful for that. And to the good people of Horseheads, and anyone else who's watching this, if not that this needs to be said or anything, but if any of you guys ever met Andrew, you would most definitely love him. A lot of us at Trinity Pawling did, and that was great. Although, I mentioned this story many times in the past, but now that I actually have mentioned Andrew's name before, it's okay for me to say this. One day during cross country, we were doing like our stretches or whatever, and we were talking about, we were coming up with the funny names for the dormitories on campus. And there's this one dorm on campus called Barstow. And then I came up with the name Barstoners, which are for people who, stoners are people who, do, as my ace perspectives and drugs teacher at Horseheads would say, marriage don't wanna. And for a second, nobody laughed. But then it was Andrew who was like, Barstoners? He was the only one to laugh at that. And I'll never forget that. I mean, again, not everything I say is going to be a gem. Not everything I say is going to be great, but knowing that made him laugh, that actually really made my day. And funny thing is, I don't even recall that day being particularly bad. It was just, it made him laugh and it made me feel good. So, yeah. So, much like I did a year ago, I dedicate today's video, which again is also Flag Day, which is actually a really convenient way for me to remember that today is Andrew Einstein's birthday, because today is also Flag Day. So, yeah, happy Flag Day, everybody. So, again, a year ago, I dedicated this video to, well, even though I didn't say his name, Andrew Einstein and his family, because today is Andrew Einstein's birthday. And so I would like to dedicate this video to the Einstein family. Boy, I really hope I didn't just mess up who I was talking about. But anyway, yeah, so I would like to dedicate today's video to the Einstein family. I hope you guys are all doing well. And I mentioned this literally 6 months ago, but it is actually on my bucket list to come to South Carolina, which is where he's from, and, visit his gravesite in person. And if I ever do, I would utter these very words. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall softly on your fields. And, until we meet again, my brother, may the Lord hold you in the palm of his hand. I know it's known as a traditional Irish blessing, but I really like that blessing a lot. I just do. And considering that, it's given me a sense of purpose in life and, allow me to really think about, my brothers and stuff like that every day. I like to think that's pretty cool. So, like, favorite, share, hit that subscribe button. I am, follow me on the social media platforms. I am very humbled. I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today, as well as being humbled in dedicating this video to the Einstein family. I am hopeful that the Einstein family is doing well. Hope you're safe, and I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I hope we all have a wonderful day. I mean, it's Friday, so can't be all bad, right? And remember, if any of you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and of course, make good choices. See ya.